If the caucus is there to vet out agenda, in part of the interview process, do you think it is fair to look at the candidates that are applying and look at their political contributions?
I'd like to say no. I don't like the idea of asking that because I do believe that there can be politically active people who don't bring that into this system. It's probably true that people who are very active in politics in general and very supportive of candidates through financial contributions, who they support to the extent that they support them is probably indicative of certain viewpoints that may or may not be desirable in our form of government. But if you vet that candidate and you find that they can really separate those two, that they understand that there's a difference between the role of local government and the role of state and federal government, I'm totally okay with that. I don't think we should exclude people just because at those levels they have strong partisan beliefs, as long as they are willing to set that aside when they come to participate in our form of government.
Skoo, what do you think about that?
Before, I just don't think it's an issue, and I've always said it shouldn't be an issue. But caveat that what tie into what Randy's saying is if you can bring it to the local level and not let that interfere. I just don't think, again, personal opinion that, running like that leaves going against the process, I guess, leaves the door open to if you do win that process or that position, then what happens to the process? Because now, I don't know. I'm just saying this, as I said it before, was what favors are owed. And that kind of subverts the current system.
If I wasn't there for you, Doc, if I was there, that would be something that I would do, that I would bring up and say, at least make sure let's address this. I don't know if it was or it wasn't at the meeting. It's one thing to put up, $500. It's another thing to put up a lot more than $500, and it raises an issue, especially now. We have to believe in people that they can put their politics aside and agendas aside and take care of the local government as best as they see fit, is what you're saying, Dr. Tack, right?
Yeah, and I think the vetting process does need to sort of challenge people's ability to do that. I think you should ask questions about what do you think the role of local government is versus state or federal? Right. Why is it different? I think there's ways to probe that and find out, can this person really function in this form of nonpartisan volunteer government without bringing in sort of other viewpoints that we don't have jurisdiction over and therefore shouldn't be discussing.
And I think to your point, Pete, and I agree with what you're saying, is that in the interview process, again, the caucus is, the foundation is nonpartisan and non-agenda driven and all that. So, in your questioning, Pete, if you were on the caucus, that would be a question, I guess, to ask if you have that information, is how do you not take that forward, so to speak?
You don't want an agenda, right. But if you don't have the caucus, then you are subject to an election. Whoever has the most money and the best machine will win.